Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome back to an all new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies video. Today we're going to be talking about Richtofen returning, and for real this time, unlike when most of the community thought that aka Ravenov was Richtofen on the Firebase C poster. I have to admit though, on the poster it looks nothing like Ravenov. He looks very similar to Eddie within the house, but the grown up version obviously. So I'm sure you've heard about this before because quite a lot of other people have made videos about it, but they haven't really gone too in depth and focused on exactly what is going on here with Richtofen in this game. So recently, lead writer Craig Houston said in an interview with IGN that I will leave a link to down in this video's description. I think the thing that's really important is that the previous incarnations, which we call the Aether story, which involve Richtofen and all of those characters that came to a definitive end at the end of Black Ops 4 season, and we were passionate about not rewriting his story. One of the things I said was that those characters did what they did to try and create a singular world where zombies didn't exist, and unfortunately, because of the experiments in World War II, they were only half right. This is no longer a time-traveling and multi-dimensional story. This is grounded in Cold War. So yeah, this storyline is going to be a lot more grounded. It's going to be a lot less crazy than before, where we had a load of different multiverses and everything got very confusing to follow. Maybe in the future, multiverses could spring up again. Technically speaking though, they can technically time travel because obviously time works differently within the Dark Aether. So if someone goes in the Dark Aether, for example in the intel we learned that Samantha was only in the Dark Aether for 2 days on Firebase C, but to her it felt like months. So I guess technically that can be considered time travel since the regular world and the Dark Aether are running at different rates. I don't think they're running at equilibrium to each other. I think there are different things that affect how quickly time runs within the Dark Aether in comparison to the normal world, and I wonder if that is indicative of who is actually in the Dark Aether or whereabouts in the Dark Aether you are. I'm not really sure on what exactly affects it. I also do wonder whether you age within the Dark Aether because I feel like you don't. Anyways, before I get off on a tangent, Craig Houston went on to say at the end of the BO4 storyline we had 2 clear characters that needed to be referenced going forward, and that was Maxis and Edward Richtofen. However, the young versions of them both. So we have shown people what Samantha Maxis was up to, and any other characters that might reappear will be dealt with in later seasons. So this confirms that Eddie, the new incarnation of Richtofen, the purified soul, will be returning later in the DLC, as he entered this new rebooted universe along with Samantha at the end of Tagged a Toten. I do want to say though, Craig makes note that he doesn't want to retell Richtofen's story, because in the past everything was kind of focused around Richtofen, and the events in Tagged a Toten happened for a reason. The cycle was broken, the duality was resolved, and everything was supposed to be safe, but like you said, unfortunately due to the experiments that happened in World War II, in this new rebooted universe, the Dark Aether is starting to seep out into this world. But there is no longer a multiverse. It's a much more linear storyline that is easier to follow, but he doesn't want to rewrite Richtofen's story, so all of the tragedies that they went through in that old story become completely pointless. No, that is not what they want to do. So with this new Richtofen, they want to tell a new story that is different to what we saw before and doesn't ruin that storyline that they told before, especially with Primus Richtofen's great sacrifice on Blood of the Dead with the blood, no pun intended. That was one of the most emotional moments of Call of Duty history, if not the most emotional, and they don't want to do any disservice by having Richtofen return in this game. So as you guys know, I made a video the other day because all of the intel within the game seems to be suggesting that the next map will in fact be Berlin, featuring the Kino Toten theatre within it. And if you want to check that out, I go a lot more in depth, but the gist of it is that Valentina, the Psychotronics research lead over at Omega, played Omega and Requiem against each other so that they would fight over the Dark Aether's powers, weakening the walls between the worlds, and she has secretly been working with the Nazis, and in this Berlin map, she plans to free the Nazis from the Dark Aether thanks to new targeted anomaly technology that she has acquired from the Ural Mountains. And she is working behind Omega and Requiem's backs. She is doing this all in a secret. We don't really know why, we don't know what the connection is, but this is going to be what we see within the next DLC. However, she has been conspiring and working with an unknown operator in Berlin, and this unknown operator just so happens to speak German, and Requiem have not been able to track who this person is. They don't work for Omega, they don't work for Requiem, so there is a huge possibility that whoever this unknown character is could actually be Eddie, aka Richtofen. I have seen some people saying that maybe Eddie in this new universe is going to speak Russian, and I thought that before, if he was going to be a part of Omega Group back in the day when we thought that this R character, who is an Omega informant, was actually Richtofen, and they turned out to be Ravenov, and some other people have been saying that they're probably going to speak in an American accent because Eddie in the house has an American accent, but the thing is, so did Samantha Maxis. For some weird reason, when the purified soul of Samantha and Richtofen entered the house, along with the other characters, Dr. Monty made them American. I don't really know why, especially because he is British and the house is literally in Sheffield. And considering Dr. Monty was trying to create a perfect world and these were supposed to be perfect incarnations of the characters, it's kind of propaganda to make them have American accents. I don't really know what that was all about. But Samantha has reclaimed her German accent since she has entered this new universe, so I would assume that a similar thing is going to happen with Eddie. And I do think that this unknown character that is seen stalking Samantha in the D Machina intro cutscene when Samantha goes to the yellow telephone booth to phone Gregory Weaver to let him know about all of the stuff happening with Project Endstation in Moscow, Poland, D Machina, well, this character is stalking her and he kind of tries to hide his face, and if you look at him, he looks very similar to Richtofen. Well, not exactly like Richtofen, he looks a lot more similar to the younger version of Richtofen, Eddie, than he does to other incarnations of Richtofen that we have seen, Ultimus and Primus. And at the end of the intro cutscene, the character is seen driving off behind Samantha in a blue car to obviously follow her, and when Richtofen was in control of the zombies, the eyes were blue, and when Samantha was in control of the zombies, the eyes were yellow/orange, and she enters a yellow telephone booth, so this could be some color coordinated imagery to suggest that this is in fact Richtofen. It would make complete sense as well for them to tease Richtofen at the very beginning of the storyline, but then he doesn't actually return until later on in the DLC. It would be a great bit of foreshadowing and would be really good storytelling. So we may be seeing Richtofen within this next DLC map in Berlin if this unknown operator that Valentina is working with is in fact located in Berlin. We learn from intel on Firebase C that from Samantha's time spent in the Dark Aether, it has caused her to start remembering things from the old Aether storyline prior to the universe rebooting and her making her way to this new universe with Eddie. For example, there is this piece of intel that references when the Keepers would watch her in her sleep. This means that she has not likely seen Eddie since entering this new universe and has completely forgotten about him, but is starting to remember him as a boy in Dr. Monty's house in Agatha, as we have this new piece of intel with Season 2 that is a diary entry from Samantha, and it reads, "Sometimes I find it hard to sleep, even though I look forward to it. When I dream, I see faces. Faces of people I care about and faces of people that don't care for me. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two, but one face stands out from all the others. The face of a child, a boy. He is lost, damaged. I want to help him, but somehow I feel that he is dangerous. Dreams are unreliable witnesses, as too am I. Sometimes I find it hard to sleep." So yeah, Eddie will obviously be grown up now as a young adult similar to Samantha, but she has not seen him since he was a boy. Interestingly though, she says that this boy is lost, damaged, and she says that she wants to help him but feels like he is dangerous. This leads me to believe that Eddie will in fact be evil and will be, like she says, dangerous in this new storyline. A lot of people thought that Richtofen could be good in this new storyline because he was supposed to be this purified soul, so maybe he has started to corrupt similar to Samantha when she entered the Dark Aether, but it seems like he is working with the Nazis and Valentina, but I feel like he has his own secret agenda or goal and is going to one-up everyone. That is just classic Richtofen. He is conniving, he is very self-interested, so it really wouldn't surprise me if he has his own secret agenda and he is going to betray everyone, and maybe him helping Valentina and the Nazis isn't actually him wanting to help them, but he might be using them for another goal. I don't really know what that is. Maybe he is trying to harness the Dark Aether's powers for himself. I don't really know. Richtofen was always very egotistical, both Primus and Ultimus. So I wonder whether Eddie will still have those sociopathic, egotistical traits that the prior two versions of Richtofen that we've seen had. But the thing is, like I mentioned earlier, Craig Houston said that he doesn't want to rewrite Richtofen's storyline from before. So this new version of Richtofen, aka Eddie, is going to have quite a different personality to the two versions of Richtofen, Ultimus and Primus that we saw before. Of course, there are going to be some similarities to the Richtofens we have seen before, but this is going to be a distinctively different new incarnation. Samantha Maxis in Cold War Zombies is quite similar to the original Samantha, but obviously grown up. But I feel like Eddie is going to be even more different to the original versions of Richtofen that we saw before. Maybe he's even going to have a slightly different accent, but like I said, I still feel like he is going to have a German accent just because Valentina is meeting this unknown character that has a German accent. Surely they are in fact Richtofen. But the thing is, within the Tag der Toten ending cutscene, after all, we see that Ultimus Undead Richtofen just accepts death because obviously he had seen all of the events of the past, present and future from being corrupted by the Dark Aether, so he knew that this was inevitable and was coming. So maybe he actually has some sort of other plan, and that is what we are going to see unfold in this game. Of course, since it seems like part of this Berlin map is going to feature Kino der Toten, it would make sense to see Richtofen return on Kino der Toten. I wonder if we're going to see a callback reference to this classic quote from the loading screen.
Entry 7410, Toten! Perhaps this station will hold the key to the real goals of Group 935. I still do not trust my unconventional allies, but they are of great use to me. But I digress. Who would have thought the MDT was capable of time travel? How many stations does this group have? Where did that little girl disappear to? Only time will tell what new questions await us in this theater of the damned.
But the thing is, because this new incarnation of Richtofen's personality is apparently going to be quite different to the original, and Craig Houston doesn't want to rewrite the old Richtofen story, and he wants to have a completely unique and new story with Eddie, there is a possibility that Richtofen is going to be recasted and he is going to have a new voice actor, similar to most of the characters from the campaign, such as Woods and Mason being recasted. Because on TikTok, Nolan North confirms that he is not returning as Richtofen, and this could be out of date. Maybe Nolan North didn't think that he would be returning because that was pre-release, and maybe they just hadn't got him in to record voice lines yet, and he might be coming back later on. I really don't want to see him recasted. It does kind of make sense, because if he is going to have a distinctively different personality to the original Richtofen, maybe Craig Houston and the other writers at Treyarch want to make that distinction between the old Richtofens and this new Richtofen. So basically this new version of Richtofen, although he is still Richtofen, his name is still Edward Richtofen, he just goes by the nickname Eddie. They want to make him seem like a completely new character that has some personality traits similar to that of Richtofen, but is still his own unique character, and maybe that could be why he ends up getting recasted. But right now we don't know what is going to go on. Of course, when Eddie does come back, he is going to be an operator in the game. I also get the impression that Eddie is going to be very shy in this game, because the old versions of Richtofen were very loud, they would constantly scream and be very weird, and they would have very preposterous quotes. Whereas I feel like Eddie is going to be toned down a lot, because the last time we saw Eddie speak, I believe, was within the Origins ending cutscene. In the Alpha Omega cutscenes, he was just there, he didn't say a word, he didn't say a word in the Tag der Toten ending as well. He just watched Samantha kill Nikolai and didn't really do anything, he just sat there. So I feel like Eddie in this game is going to be very shy, he's going to be very quiet, he's going to be a very timid character, and that might be why they don't have Nolan North back. But at the same time, Nolan North is a very talented actor. He's done voice work for a bunch of other characters in Call of Duty aside from Richtofen as well, and he does a bunch of other characters in other video games and movies and stuff like that. He has a very diverse voice range, so surely he could do a very, very different interpretation of Richtofen where he he is a lot quieter and a lot more timid and very different to the original Richtofen that was very loud and in your face and very bombastic. But maybe this just comes down to a budget issue? I don't know, maybe Nolan North just charges too much and maybe Activision just want to pay for someone cheaper like they've done with all of the characters in the campaign. That could be another reason, I don't know. I don't know the business side that goes on behind all of this, but that's another possibility. But according to Samantha, he is dangerous, so even if he is very quiet, it seems like we're probably going to be surprised by him. He might come across as this really shy character and then boom, he flicks the switch and screws us. I mean, in the D Machina intro, once again, he seems to not say a single word. He just watches Samantha and then follows behind her. If this character is Eddie, that is, unless I'm wrong about that. But I really do feel like this is Eddie. As a child, Eddie went through a lot of traumatic events. He witnessed some absolute atrocities. So I'm sure witnessing all of those events has had a massive impact on his psychology over time, and that could be a reason for him being so quiet, because he's actually just holding in all of that pain and suffering. And I want to reference back to this quote from Primus Richtofen on Tag the Toten, in which he discusses when he had to kill a younger version of himself, a quote-unquote innocent soul.
Well, I'm not a very complicated man. My needs are simple. I just want power, preferably absolute.
You destroyed Earth. Is that not enough?
Thank you, other me. Thank you, other Nikolai. This is all very entertaining. But I cannot help but feel a little morose.
Ain't that you all over, Richtofen?
Yeah, I suppose you're right. We may be victorious, but wouldn't you like to hear a little story? A story you've never heard? A sad story?
Oh, man. Why do you always have to be such a Debbie Downer?
Let him speak.
It's the story of Dimension 2210. The story of my soul. By the way, you're nodding, Nikolai. I can only assume the chronorium already showed you the whole sorry tale. Well, for the benefit of the peanut gallery, I was just a boy then. An innocent. I was a sensitive child. A lonely child. Orphaned at a young age. I never got to know who I really was. But one day, I learned who I would grow up to be.
What do you speak of, Richtofen?
I had to do it. The chronorium told me. I had to trick the poor little innocent me into trusting a complete stranger.
Jeez, Richtofen. I don't think I like where this is going.
Me neither, Dempsey. But that's the sad truth of it all. I took mine own soul. Before it could ever have the chance to flourish. Is it any wonder I'm the way I am?
So according to Primus Richtofen, he had to kill this younger version of himself from another dimension when he was just a child at his most pure form. Because apparently this version of Richtofen was going to grow up to be a complete monster. And he had to kill him before he became that version of himself when he was still an innocent young boy. And maybe that gives some sort of an idea for what Eddie may become in the future, or what we're going to see within Black Ops Cold War Zombies. Since in Cold War Zombies, Eddie will now be grown up to a young adult, and we haven't seen him since he was a young child. I do want to reference back to the Origins ending cutscene though, where Eddie says the following.
I told you before, their eyes should be blue.
It's my turn, Eddie. I can do whatever I want.
But you don't even know how to play properly. Girls don't know enough about zombies.
What's the choice of it, children? Make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
We'd better do what your dad says. I didn't even get my turn.
Tomorrow, Eddie. You get to make the rules. I promise.
So maybe Eddie is finally going to get his turn to be in control. Maybe he is helping Valentina to unleash these Nazis for his own secret agenda, and he is actually going to be in control or something weird like that. I don't really know what Samantha means by him being dangerous, but maybe Eddie is finally going to get his opportunity to be fully in power. He was kind of in power in Black Ops 2 Zombies, but he didn't reach the full potential of the Aether. Maybe he could even work with the Accursed One and do the Accursed One's bidding to free the Accursed One from the Dark Aether that is Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man recombined. After all, the Shadow Man did say on Revelations that Richtofen was his accomplice, and maybe Richtofen could be working with the Accursed One. And obviously we have this quote on Classified that I'll play for you right now.
Is this thing on? Richtofen! Hey, Richtofen! You've been gone from my head a really long time! I gotta be honest, I'm freaking out a bit, man. It's so quiet. I can actually hear myself think. Do you know what that's like? It's not nice at all. So, listen, buddy, old pal, we gotta talk. You sent us here, of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark, it's damp, it's just really filthy. I think the roaches are crawling with roaches. How is that even possible? Wait, shoot. Am I even talking to the right Richtofen? Oh, you could be the other one, right? Or the other one. Yeah, you know what? Just go talk to your Richtofen pals at the hoity-toity Ricky Gang Clubhouse and find out what the we're supposed to be doing!
Obviously, I've talked about this in plenty of videos, but basically, when Victus was sent into the Dark Aether, they were not given a quest, and Stuhlinger was like, you haven't given us a quest, we don't know what to do. This place is dark, damp, crawling with roaches, which describes the Dark Aether perfectly because it's a disgusting place. And obviously, he tried to contact Primus Richtofen, but accidentally contacted Ultimus Richtofen Unclassified. However, he says, oh god, you could be the other one, or the other one, and I'm wondering if the other one is referring to Eddie, which leads me to believe that there might be some sort of telepathical connection between the two still. Who knows? Let me know all of your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below as always. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're around here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching and bye.